Question 1. Based on the information provided, Mr. Ramirez is the new food and beverage manager at a large hotel. He has noticed frequent discrepancies between actual and theoretical food costs in the kitchen. Given the circumstances, what should Mr. Ramirez prioritize to identify the root cause and improve cost control? A. Increase the frequency of inventory counts without altering existing procedures. B. Implement a standardized recipe system combined with employee training on portion control. C. Reduce menu variety to simplify inventory management. D. Replace all kitchen staff to eliminate errors. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Implementing standardized recipes and training staff on portion control directly addresses discrepancies in food cost by ensuring consistent ingredient usage and reducing waste. Increasing inventory counts, option A, without procedural changes often identifies issues but does not resolve root causes. Reducing menu variety, option C, might simplify management but can harm customer satisfaction, does not address cost control at the operational level. Replacing all kitchen staff, option D, is impractical and does not guarantee improvement. According to best practices in food cost control and HACC guidelines, standardization and staff competency are critical for accuracy in costing and maintaining food safety standards. Question 2. In the context of beverage operations, is Taylor manages a hotel bar and wants to ensure compliance with responsible alcohol service laws. If a visibly intoxicated guest insists on being served more alcohol, what is the appropriate action Taylor should take? A. Serve the guest one last drink and then refuse service thereafter. B. Refuse to serve the guest and politely explain the legal restrictions. C. Serve the guest because denying service might cause confrontation. D. Allow service only if the guest signs a waiver accepting responsibility. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Responsible alcohol service laws, including the Dram Shop Act in many jurisdictions, prohibit serving alcohol to intoxicated persons to prevent liability for subsequent harm. Taylor must refuse service and clearly communicate legal obligations to protect the establishment and public safety. Serving a last drink, option A, still violates laws. Allowing service to avoid confrontation, option C, risks legal penalties and harm. Waivers, option D, do not absolve legal responsibility. Training staff in responsible service is mandated by many regulatory bodies. E.g., tips or serve safe alcohol to compliance and reduce liability. Question 3. From the perspective of kitchen layout and design, Chef Nguyen is planning a new kitchen to improve workflow efficiency. Which of the following design principles should be prioritized to minimize cross-contamination risks while maximizing productivity? A. Segregate raw and cooked food preparation areas with separate equipment and surfaces. B. Arrange all cooking equipment in one line to save space. C. Place dishwashing in food prep areas adjacent to streamline cleaning. D. Combine storage of cleaning chemicals and food supplies to reduce storage costs. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. Segregating raw and cooked food prep areas reduces the risk of cross-contamination, a critical aspect of HACC and food safety regulations. This separation also aligns with FDA Food Code guidelines emphasizing physical separation or time-based separation of raw and ready-to-eat foods. Arranging all equipment in one line. B. Or placing dishwashing next to prep areas. C. Can increase contamination risks. Disrupt workflow. Storing chemicals with food. D. Violates OSHA and food safety standards, risking chemical contamination and regulatory non-compliance. Efficient layout integrates safety and productivity through zoning, appropriate equipment placement, and compliance with health codes. Question 4. Considering the evidence, Al-Karim is evaluating pricing strategies for a new menu at her upscale restaurant. To optimize profitability without alienating customers, which pricing strategy should she apply? A. Cost plus pricing, adding a fixed percentage to food costs. B. Competitive pricing, matching prices with nearby competitors regardless of costs. C. Psychological pricing, such as pricing items at $9.99 instead of $10. D. Value-based pricing, setting prices based on perceived customer value and willingness to pay. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Value-based pricing aligns prices with customer perceptions and willingness to pay, maximizing profitability while maintaining satisfaction. Cost-plus pricing ignores customer demand elasticity and may result in prices too high or too low relative to market. Competitive pricing B. Risks undercutting or overpricing relative to brand positioning. Psychological pricing C. Affects perception but is less impact on profitability in upscale settings. This approach reflects pricing theory in marketing and the CFBE exam's emphasis on balancing financial and customer-centric objectives. Question 5. In a scenario where Mr. Singh is implementing hack principles in his banquet kitchen, which of the following should be his primary focus during the hazard analysis step? A. Developing corrective action plans for potential food hazards. B. Identifying and evaluating food safety hazards that can be prevented, eliminated, or reduced. C. Establishing critical limits for temperature control. D. Validating that the hack system is effective. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. The hazard analysis step requires identifying and assessing biological, chemical, and physical hazards that may affect food safety. This foundational step determines which hazards must be controlled, developing corrective actions A. Setting critical limits C. And validation D. are subsequent steps within the hacked system. The Codex Alimentarius and FDA Food Code provide frameworks for hack implement, emphasizing thorough hazard analysis as critical for effective food safety management. Question 6. Given the circumstances, Ms. O'Connell is tasked with reducing food waste in her restaurant while maintaining menu quality. Which strategy best balances waste reduction with operational feasibility? A. Eliminating unpopular menu items regardless of ingredient usage. B. Implementing portion control and repurposing safe food scraps into other dishes. C. Reducing ingredient quality to avoid spoilage. D. Ordering minimal inventory to avoid excess stock, risking frequent stockouts. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Portion control ensures consistent servings, preventing overproduction and waste, while repurposing safe food scraps, e.g. vegetable trimmings for stocks, utilizes resources efficiently without compromising quality. Eliminating items without analysis A. can reduce customer satisfaction, reducing ingredient quality. C. compromises brand and health standards. Ordering minimal inventory D. risks stockouts, harming service and revenue. These strategies align with sustainability best practices in FB, supported by industry standards like lean management and environmental guidelines. Question 7. When considering the regulatory compliance aspect of food safety inspections, Mr. Lee notices that his kitchen staff sometimes skip documented cleaning steps during peak hours. What is the best practice for Mr. Lee to ensure compliance without disrupting service? A. Increase the number of inspections by external auditors weekly. B. Train staff on the importance of compliance and implement checklists integrated into workflow. C. Relax cleaning protocols during busy periods to prioritize service speed. D. Replace staff frequently to encourage adherence to procedures. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Training reinforces staff understanding of food safety's importance, while checklists provide practical tools for compliance. Even under pressure, HACCP and FDA Food Code emphasize staff training and documentation for effective sanitation. Increasing audits they can create stress without changing behavior. Relaxing protocols C. violates regulations and risks contamination. Replacing staff frequently is disruptive and ineffective long-term. Integrating food safety into daily routines promotes sustainable compliance. Question 8. In light of recent developments, Jackson is revising her beverage inventory system to reduce shrinkage. Which of the following controls is most effective in identifying and preventing theft and loss? A. Conducting annual inventory counts and relying on manual records. B. Implementing a computerized POS system integrated with inventory tracking and regular cycle counts. C. Increasing beverage prices to offset losses without changing inventory controls. D. Relying solely on staff honesty and trust. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. A computerized POS system linked with real-time inventory tracking and cycle counts provides accurate data, detects discrepancies early, and minimizes shrinkage. Annual counts alone miss frequent variances. Raising prices, C, does not address root causes, relying only on trust, D, ignores inherent risks and violates internal control principles. Effective beverage inventory management aligns with industry standards for internal controls and loss prevention. Question 9. Under the assumption that Is Garcia wants to develop a beverage menu that complements her newly launched gluten-free food menu, which pairing approach best supports both flavor harmony and dietary restrictions. A. Suggest high-sugar cocktails to mask food flavors. B. Offer craft beers without gluten-free certification as alternatives. C. Feature naturally gluten-free beverages like wines, ciders, and gluten-free spirits. D. Exclude all alcoholic beverages to avoid risk. Answer. Correct answer. See explanation. Offering naturally gluten-free beverages ensures safety for gluten-intolerant guests and maintains flavor pairing integrity. High-sugar cocktails might overpower dishes and don't address gluten concerns. Craft beers without certification. B. Risk gluten exposure. Excluding all alcohol. D. Reduces options unnecessarily. The CFBE exam emphasizes knowledge of beverage categories and their compatibility. Dietary needs in line with FDA labeling and allergen guidelines. Question 10. From a practical standpoint, Mr. Johnson oversees a large banquet event where multiple courses are served buffet style. Which service style and related operational strategy best ensures quality control and guest satisfaction? A. Self-service buffet with unlimited food replenishment and minimal staff monitoring. B. Assisted buffet with staff serving food portions and maintaining food temperature control. C. Family-style service where guests serve themselves from shared platters. D. Russian service with plated meals brought directly to guests. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. An assisted buffer with staff serving portions helps control food quality, portion sizes, and maintains temperature, hot holding above 135 degrees and cold below 40 degrees, complying with FDA food code. Self-service A can lead to contamination, food waste, and inconsistent portions. Family style C is less practical for large banquets due to hygiene and control issues. Russian service is not buffet style and requires more labor and plating capacity. This approach balances efficiency, safety, and guest experience. Question 11. In the modern context of kitchen operations, Is Patel supervises a team facing frequent bottlenecks during peak service hours. She suspects poor production planning is the cause. Which of the following strategies should she implement to optimize production flow without sacrificing food quality? A. Develop a detailed production schedule aligned with reservation patterns and menu demand forecasts. B. Increase batch sizes for all menu items to reduce cooking time. C. Limit menu options during peak hours without adjusting production plans. D. Require chefs to multitask by preparing multiple menu items simultaneously, regardless of complexity. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. A production schedule based on accurate forecasting aligns kitchen output with demand, minimizing bottlenecks and waste while maintaining quality. Increasing batch sizes indiscriminately. B. Risks overproduction and quality degradation. Limiting menu options. C. Without planning may confuse staff and frustrate customers. Multitasking without planning. D. Reduces efficiency and increases errors. Production planning principles, supported by lean kitchen and hack guidelines, emphasize forecasting, timing, and workload balance for operational excellence. Question 12. Taking into account the relationship between beverage cost control and profitability, Mr. Kim notices a spike in liquor costs despite stable sales. What action should he prioritize to address the issue effectively? A. Increase liquor prices to offset cost increases. B. Conduct a thorough audit of inventory and monitor bartender pouring practices. C. Reduce the variety of liquors offered regardless of guest preferences. D. Remove popular but expensive liquors from the menu. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Inventory audits combined with monitoring pouring control help identify theft, overpouring, or inaccurate inventory records causing cost increases. Simply raising prices might reduce sales and satisfaction. Reducing variety, C, or removing popular items, D, can harm brand image and revenue. Beverage cost control relies on accurate tracking and standardized pouring practices, consistent, responsible alcohol management, guidelines, and financial controls. Question 13. Illustrated by Is Martinez's experience, a food and beverage manager is reviewing his outlet's menu to improve nutritional considerations for guests with dietary restrictions. Which of the following menu modifications best addresses this goal while maintaining menu appeal? A. Add detailed allergen and nutrition information next to each menu item. B. Eliminate all menu items containing common allergens. C. Offer separate gluten-free menu without cross-contact precautions. D. Replace all fried items with raw or steamed alternatives. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. Providing clear allergen and nutrition information empowers guests to make informed choices and complies with regulations such as the FDA Food Allergen Labeling and Consumer Protection Act (FALPA). Eliminating all allergens. B. Is impractical and limits customer options. Separate gluten-free menus. C. Without strict kitchen controls risk cross-contamination. Replacing fried items entirely. D. May alienate customers and is unnecessary if handled safely. Transparency and accommodation are core to inclusive menu management. Question 14. When analyzing the merits of various bar layouts, Mr. O'Reilly is tasked with designing bar that maximizes bartender efficiency and customer engagement. Which layout principle should be prioritized? A. Linear bar to minimize bartender movement but limit customer interaction. B. An L-shaped bar that provides ample workspace and visibility of patrons. C. Circular bar that enables 360-degree customer access but increases bartender walking. D. Back bar with no direct customer interaction to streamline operations. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. An L-shaped bar balances bartender mobility and interaction with customers, enhancing service speed and engagement. Linear bars A can cause bottlenecks and restrict social interaction. Circular bars C improve access but may cause inefficient staff movement. Back bars without customer interaction D diminish guest experience, especially in hospitality settings, emphasizing rapport. This reflects operational principles focusing on ergonomics and service quality. Question 15. The fundamental question is Mr. Wang manages beverage purchasing and aims to minimize stockouts without inflating inventory holding costs. Which procurement approach best aligns with this goal? A. Just-in-time JIT purchasing with frequent small orders based on real-time sales data. B. Bulk purchasing to gain supplier discounts and avoid frequent ordering. C. Ordering fixed quantities monthly regardless of consumption trends. D. Relying on manual inventory counts without automated tracking. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. JIT purchasing reduces holding costs and stockouts by aligning orders closely with demand supported by real-time data from POS systems. Bulk purchasing B. Ties up capital and increases risk of spoilage. Fixed monthly orders C. Lack responsiveness to sales variation. Manual counts D. Are error-prone and slow. Inventory management principles and financial controls in EFBE highlight balancing supply and demand efficiently for cost control and operational continuity. Question 16. Under the assumption that Is Brown is responsible for staff training in hygiene practices, which training method best ensures lasting compliance with sanitation standards? A. A one-time annual training session with detailed lectures on hygiene policies. B. Ongoing hands-on training and regular audits paired with immediate feedback. C. Providing employees with printed manuals to study independently. D. Relying on employees to self-monitor their hygiene habits. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Hands-on continuous training with audits and feedback fosters skill retention and behavior modification, critical for HACCP and FDA food code compliance. One-time lectures are insufficient to maintain standards. Printed manuals C. may not engage all learners. Self-monitoring D. is unreliable without supervision. Adult learning theory and food safety best practices advocate for interactive education to reduce risks of contamination and ensure regulatory compliance. Question 17. During the process of evaluating sales strategies, Mr. Adams wants to increase beverage upselling without negatively impacting customer satisfaction. Which approach aligns best with this objective? A. Aggressively push premium beverages regardless of guest preferences. B. Train servers to suggest pairings based on menu items and guest tastes. C. Reduce beverage prices to encourage spontaneous purchases. D. Limit menu selections to only high-margin beverages. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Suggestive selling based on guest preferences and menu pairings enhances satisfaction and increases sales. Ethically aggressive pushing A can deter guests. Price reductions C may lower profit margins and affect perceived value. Limiting selections D reduces guest choice and can harm loyalty. Effective upselling balances business goals with customer experience consistent with CFBE emphasis on sales and guest excellence. Question 18. In light of recent developments in sustainability, is Nguyen seeks to improve waste management practices in her food service operation. Which practice should she prioritize for immediate impact? A. Composting all organic waste generated on site. B. Purchasing packaging materials in bulk to reduce packaging waste. C. Training staff on portion control and using inventory tracking to reduce overproduction. D. Recycling glass bottles only. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Reducing food waste at the source through portion control and inventory management directly decreases overall waste generation, supporting sustainability goals. Composting A is beneficial but downstream, not preventive. Bulk packaging B might reduce some waste but risk spoilage. Recycling only glass D is limited in scope. CFBE candidates learn that waste reduction strategies prior prevention aligning with global sustainability standards such as ISO 14001. Question 19. Considering the evidence, Mr. Fernandez must select a point-of-sale POS system to streamline order taking and reduce errors in his multi-outlet operation. Which feature should be his highest priority? A. Basic order entry with manual reconciliation capabilities. B. Integrated real-time inventory tracking, sales analytics, and kitchen display systems. C. Ability to accept only cash payments to simplify accounting. D. A standalone system without network connectivity to improve security. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. An integrated POS system improves accuracy, inventory control, and operational transparency, key to multi-outlet efficiency and financial control. Manual reconciliation A increases errors. Cash only C limits customer convenience and increases theft risk. Standalone systems D hinder data sharing and analytics. Modern CFBE guidelines emphasize technology adoption for operational optimism and strategic decision making. Question 20. Through the lens of ethics and professionalism, Carter discovers that one of her senior staff falsified inventory records to cover shrinkage. What is the best course of action consistent with industry best practices? A. Ignore the issue to avoid conflict and maintain team harmony. B. Confront the employee privately and require them to correct the records immediately. C. Report the misconduct to upper management and follow disciplinary protocols outlined in company policy. D. Reduce inventory checks to prevent further errors. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Ethical management requires transparency and accountability. Reporting to management and following established disciplinary procedures protects organizational integrity and deters future misconduct. Ignoring A or privately correcting B may allow unethical behavior to persist. Reducing checks D worsens control issues. Professional standards, including CFBE ethics modules and hospitality codes of conduct, mandate adherence to honesty, fairness, and organizational policies. Question 21. When evaluating the merits of different menu engineering approaches, Ochoa notices certain high-cost items have low sales volume but high contribution margins. According to menu engineering principles, what is the best strategy to maximize profitability for these items? A. Remove the items entirely to reduce complexity and cost. B. Promote the items strategically through suggestive selling and specials. C. Lower the prices to increase volume regardless of margin impact. D. Replace the ingredients with cheaper alternatives to maintain price. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Menu engineering identifies stars as items with high profitability but low popularity. Promoting these increases sales volume without sacrificing margin. Removing they forfeits potential profit. Lowering prices C may erode margins and substituting cheaper ingredients. D risks quality and customer satisfaction. Strategic promotion aligns with marketing and financial optimization. CFB's emphasis on balancing profitability and customer appeal. Question 22. Given the circumstances, Lindstrom is redesigning her kitchen layout to improve sanitation and staff safety. Which of the following design choices aligns best with HACCP principles and OSHA requirements? A. Separate hand-washing sinks from food prep areas to avoid cross-contamination. B. Store cleaning chemicals and food products in the same area to save space. C. Place all refrigeration units in a central location to reduce walking distances. D. Use non-slip flooring and adequate ventilation throughout the kitchen. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. Non-slip flooring and proper ventilation reduce accidents and maintain air quality, satisfying OSHA workplace safety standards and HACCP sanitation needs. Separating hand-washing sinks is incorrect. HACCP mandates sinks be easily accessible in food prep areas for hand hygiene. Storing chemicals with food. B. Risks contamination and violates FDA and OSHA standards. Centralizing refrigeration. C. Cause congestion and temperature inconsistencies. Safety and sanitation design principles ensure compliance and operational efficiency. Question 23. Within the framework of beverage sales and marketing, Stein aims to increase off-premise sales using digital platforms. Which strategy is most effective in engaging target customers while complying with alcohol regulations? A. Offering online promotions with unrestricted age verification procedures. B. Leveraging social media content that highlights product origin, tasting notes, and responsible drinking messages. C. Running frequent discount campaigns without limits on quantity purchased. D. Using influencer endorsements without disclosing sponsorship to attract younger demographics. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Educational, engaging content combined with responsible drinking messaging complies with advertising laws and builds brand trust. Unrestricted age verification. A. Risks legal penalties. Uncontrolled discounts. C. May violate minimum pricing laws and encourage overconsumption. Undisclosed sponsorships. D. Breach advertising transparency rules and ethical standards. CFBE candidates must understand marketing tactics that balance brand growth and regulatory compliance. Question 24. Mr. Rivera notices that his inventory control system does not properly account for the FIFO method, leading to frequent spoilage. Which of the following corrective actions best addresses this problem? A. Switch to the LIFO inventory method to simplify accounting. B. Train staff to rotate stock properly and adjust receiving procedures to ensure first-in items are used first. C. Increase inventory levels to avoid shortages. D. Only order products with longer shelf lives. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Proper FIFO implementation requires staff training and receiving controls to ensure older stock is used before newer deliveries, reducing spoilage and cost loss. LIFO is less suitable for perishable food items due to spoilage risk. Increasing inventory. C. Worsens waste. Ordering longer shelf life products. D. Helps but doesn't solve rotation issues. Effective inventory management aligns with HACCP and cost control standards. Question 25. In terms of labor cost management, his wonk is tasked with maintaining productivity during off-peak hours without compromising service quality. Which staffing approach is most appropriate? A. Schedule full staff shifts regardless of demand fluctuations to maintain consistency. B. Use flexible scheduling and cross-training to adjust labor to demand dynamically. C. Reduce staff breaks to maximize working hours. D. Assign less experienced staff during peak times to save costs. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Flexible scheduling and cross-training allow adjusting workforce size and skills to actual demand, optimizing labor costs and service quality. Scheduling full shifts regardless of volume A causes inefficiency. Reducing breaks. C. Risks fatigue and labor violations. Assigning inexperienced staff at peak times. D. Can degrade service and guest satisfaction. Labor laws and best practices in CFBEs. Compliance and balanced workforce management. Question 26. Mr. Thompson, overseeing food safety, discovers that some kitchen staff inconsistently maintain temperature control for hot foods. What corrective measure best ensures compliance with FDA food code standards? A. Increase penalties for staff who fail temperature checks. B. Implement continuous temperature monitoring devices and train staff on proper hot holding procedures. C. Allow some flexibility in temperature limits during busy service. D. Rotate staff more frequently to reduce fatigue. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Continuous monitoring devices provide objective data, while staff training reinforces understanding and responsibility for maintaining food safety. Penalizing staff A without training may reduce morale. Allowing flexibility. C. Breaches regulations risking foodborne illness. Rotating staff. D. Helps with fatigue but doesn't address temperature control. The FDA food code mandates hot foods be held 135 degrees or above to prevent pathogen growth. Question 27. Among the various pricing strategies Evans wants to implement a dynamic pricing model to maximize revenue during peak dining hours. Which operational challenge should she anticipate and plan for? A. Customer dissatisfaction due to perceived unfairness in pricing variability. B. Reduced labor costs due to increased efficiency. C. Simplified menu planning and inventory management. D. Increased predictability in daily revenue. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Dynamic pricing can alienate customers if perceived as unfair or confusing, requiring clear communication and transparency. Labor costs. B. And menu planning. C. May become more complex. Revenue predictability. D. Decreases due to fluctuating prices. CFBE professionals must weigh revenue management benefits against guest perception and operational complexities. Question 20. A critical examination of Mr. Hernandez's supply relationship reveals frequent late deliveries affecting service. What is the most effective approach to resolve this issue? A. Terminate the contract immediately and find new suppliers. B. Communicate performance expectations clearly and negotiate improved delivery schedules with penalties for non-compliance. C. Increase order quantities to compensate for delays. D. Accept delays as unavoidable and adjust operations accordingly. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Effective supplier management involves clear communication, setting expectations, and contractual enforcement. Immediate termination may disrupt supply and incur costs. Increasing order size. C. Risks overstock and waste. Accepting delays. D. Signals poor operational control. Strong supplier partnerships support quality, reliability, and cost management consistent with CFBE guidelines. Question 29. From multiple perspectives, Collins evaluates her outlet's employee performance appraisal system to ensure it drives improvement and engagement. Which key features should be integrated? A. One-way feedback from manager to employee only. B. Goal setting aligned with department objectives and two-way communication. C. Focus solely on identifying deficiencies. D. Irregular appraisal intervals based on manager availability. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Effective appraisals include goal alignment and open dialogue, fostering motivation and accountability. One-way feedback. A. Limits employee growth, focusing only on deficiencies. C. Damages morale. Irregular appraisals. D. Reduce effectiveness. CFBE training emphasizes performance management systems that support continuous development and organizational goals. Question 30. While examining quality control in food production, Mr. Ahmed implements regular sensory evaluations. Which best practice should he follow to ensure objective and consistent results? A. Use the same untrained staff for all evaluations to maintain consistency. B. Rotate evaluators and use standardized scoring sheets with training on sensory criteria. C. Allow evaluators to score freely without guidelines to capture natural impressions. D. Perform evaluations only during slow service hours. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Rotating trained evaluators using standardized criteria reduces bias and increases reliability of sensory data. Using untrained staff lowers accuracy. Freeform scoring. C. Lacks reproducibility. Evaluations only during slow hours. D. Might not reflect actual conditions. Sensory quality control is vital for maintaining product standards and customer satisfaction. PFBE practices.